Kלים Perik Beis, Mishnah Dalad. Says the Mishnah, Panos, sheyesh boi beis kibul shemen tomei, v'she'ein boi toher. A panos is a lantern. It's got a base and walls. The lamp sits on the base within the lantern, and the walls are just there to protect the lamp from blowing out, stops the draft getting in. Says the Mishnah, if the panos has, apart from the fact that you can put the lamp in the lantern, it also has a separate indentation for shemen, to collect a little bit of oil there, then it's tomei because the whole kli cheres now has a toich, and the toich is also the kibble, i.e. the kibble for the oil. Then the lantern is a kli cheres yesh lo toich. She'ein boy, if there's no base kibble shemen, all you have is the lamp that sits in the lantern, it's toher. Because although the lamp, the panos, has a toich, and although the ner, the lamp, actually sits inside the toich, however, the toich is not being used. What's happening is the lamp is just sitting on the base, and the walls are there just to protect the draft getting in. We're not using the toich. The lamp isn't filling up the toich. It's not using the sides. The sides are not being mekabel. Therefore, in such a case, the kli cheres is deemed not to have a toich, which is also the kibble, and the kli cheres is toher. Next case, magufas hayotzrin. Magufas hayotzrin, Martunur tells us, ke'ein avnaim shel cheres. This is a form, it's a block made out of earthenware, on which the potter molds and kneads his clay to make a keli. If he has two such blocks, one which is shupasech, the one where he starts off, where he just takes the clay and molds it, kneads it round the outside of the form. For such an activity, the form doesn't need any sort of rim or any sort of base kibble. It's flat. Not really flat, it's round, but it hasn't got a base kibble, and therefore it's toher. However, the second block which he uses to finish off the kli actually has a rim in which the clay settles and is formed with inside that rim, and therefore that's called the kli cheres sheyesh lo toich, and the magufa is tomei. Shupasech bar Torah, the one which he starts off, is Torah. V'shugoyim bar, the one where he finishes off the kli, is Tamea, because that's a kli cheres with a toich. And the last case of the Mishnah, mashpech shel bali botim Torah, a simple funnel. A funnel made out of cheres. A funnel is used to pour liquids from a wide aperture at the top. The liquids go in and come out through a narrow part at the bottom. Again, the kli cheres has a toich, but the toich is not also lekabel, because the whole point of the mashpech is for the liquids to flow through, to come in one end and go out the other end. So of course, it's a classic case of a kli cheres she'ein lo toich, mashpech shel bali botim toher. However, says the Mishnah, v'shel roichlin, if it's the one used by peddlers, then it's tomei. Why? B'pnei shu shel midah, because this funnel is not only used as a means of pouring liquids through it, is also used for measuring purposes. Divrei Rabuda ben Beseira. Bartanur explains that sometimes the roichel wants to measure a specific amount of liquid to the person he's selling it to. So he puts his finger at the bottom of the funnel, fills up the funnel with liquid up to a certain amount. There are obviously measuring notches on the side. And then when he has the required amount of level, he would then take away his finger, then it would flow through. Because his finger is there, so now it's a kli cheres sheyesh lo toich, and it's a toich which is also lekabel, because he puts his fingers there, and that can fill up the kli cheres with the liquids. Therefore, the kli cheres is tomei. This is a very important point to be able to use as a contrast between cheres and kli eitz. The Chazon Ish explains that had this mashpech be made out of wood, putting your finger there doesn't change it into having a base kibble. The mashpech still has not got a base kibble. Therefore, even though you put your finger there and now you can put something inside, you cannot change the form of the kli, and the kli still is tar because the kli eitz needs a kibble. A kli cheres doesn't need a kibble. A kli cheres just needs to have a toich, which it has got in this case. The toich has to be osu lekabel, which it does when you put your finger there. Therefore, according to Rabbi ben Beseira, a mashpech shel kli cheres is mekabel tuma, whereas the same scenario with the mashpech shel eitz would not be called a base kibble. Rabbi Kiva Omer, no, he says it's actually got a base kibble. Why? Sometimes the peddler turns the mashpech on the side, and when he turns it on the side, the mashpech is then able to collect a little bit of liquid. The purchaser is able to smell the wine and to see whether he likes it or not. Therefore, it's actually got a base kibble. And according to Rabbi Akiva, even if the mashpech was made out of eitz, this would be classified as a base kibble, and the mashpech would be tomei, and that's the nafkamina ledina between Rabbi ben Meseira and Rabbi Akiva.